Hi, it's Alicia. So I know this video is a little bit late. I wasn't sure if I was going to make it, but I was really disappointed with my last video, so I thought, let's just do a really late video because that's perfectly okay. So for this video, I'm gonna kind of roll together my reads for April as well as the books that I bought in April. This may be how I do things in the future. I don't always get as many books read as I want, and I definitely don't buy a lot of books each month. I just don't have the financial means to buy as many books as some of the other booktubers do. So it never really makes sense to me to make like a huge haul video. So I'm thinking maybe I'll just roll them together, but again, I'm learning, we'll see what happens. So I've read 4 books this month. So the first one was We're All in This Together by Amy Jones. So I did do a review of this book and I'll link it below. And in the review I said that maybe I'm just sentimental because this book takes place in Thunder Bay, Ontario, which is where I went to university. And maybe it's just my sentimentality that really made me relate and kind of fall for this book. But despite that, and despite the fact that maybe there is a bit of that going on, I do think it's a really well done book, and there are so many different characters and situations that I think there's always gonna be somebody that a reader will relate to. So I think the book is really good in that way. So I really enjoyed reading this one. So after that, I moved on to Neil Gaiman's American Gods. So this was also a book that I bought this month. A friend and I were wasting time until a party. So we went to a bookstore because we're really cool. And that's what cool people do before they go to a party, is go book shopping and then bring their new books to a party. So that's what this book was. There's a TV show coming out soon, and I really wanted to get the book read before the TV show. If there's ever a book that's being made into a movie or a TV show and is getting a lot of popularity, and there is a book that I really wanted to read, I will always try and find the book and read it before anything comes out, because I hate spoilers. And so I'm like, oh no, if I don't read it now, somebody's gonna spoil it for me. So that's what I really tried to avoid with this one. This is a really enjoyable book. There were parts where I was like, nah, maybe you could have done without that, but overall, I mean, I really enjoyed it, and I really fell back in love with Neil Gaiman. I've kind of always loved him as a person, but as far as his books go, I've read one by him and Terry Pratchett called Good Omens, which is really good, and you should definitely read that one. But the one which is just by him that I've tried to read was Stardust, and I couldn't finish it. I wasn't really loving it, but Gaiman fans have told me that that's pretty much his worst novel. So I'm really happy I read this one. So my faith is restored in Neil Gaiman's writing, and I definitely want to read more of him, so that will probably come soon. After American Gods, I moved on to a Canadian memoir, Precious Cargo by Craig Davidson. So Craig Davidson is, as I said, a Canadian writer. He's written some literary fiction, and he writes horror under the name Nick Cutter. So a memoir for him is kind of new, and it was a cute novel. I liked it. It focuses on his year driving a school bus for children with special needs in Vancouver, BC. And I really liked it. I mean, I liked his relationship with the kids, but there were a couple things where I was like, that's kind of weird. But I mean, the one thing I did love is that he acknowledged the couple of times where he was like, that was probably a really bad decision. And he acknowledges when his downfalls are himself, and he never blames it on other people, which is something I really love in somebody's nonfiction novels. I really hate when I'm reading a nonfiction novel and they're like, well, I did this terrible thing because, you know, this happened to me, and they never take responsibility, and that really bugs me. But he didn't, and that's what I really loved. And Craig Davidson is one of the authors I'll be meeting actually in a, oh God, in like a week and a half now. along with Amy Jones, actually, who wrote We're All in This Together, and Sachi Cole, who, if you haven't watched my other videos, I'm sure you'll know is my queen. So I'm really excited to meet them, and I'll meet him as well. And like any good book nerd, I'll probably start asking him about his books and if he's heard from the kids that he drove recently and all the annoying things that, you know, authors just don't want to be asked. But I'll do that because I'm that person. And then, so the last book I read for April was Queens of Geek by Jen Wild. So this was my last book review, and I'll link it below, but this was the one that I really didn't like. Not the book, the review. And I mean, I guess the review part was kind of okay. I know I said a lot, and I had so many technical difficulties that it just really ended up looking terrible. But the book itself was it was really cute. It's no great work of literary masterpiece, but it had a diverse set of characters with different problems, but no character was defined by their problem. The bisexual character was not talked about as the struggles of bisexuality. She was just a person, and that's what I really like, is when a book can just have a person and who they are isn't, you know, this huge struggle, that's the only defining thing about them. So I really liked it about it. I said in my review that I'm pretty sure she posted it on Wattpad. I did post her Wattpad link on my review, but I'll link it again. If you can read it for free online, you should probably, it might be better to do that. I'm not sure if, I spent $16 on this, $16 Canadian, but, so it's $11 in the US. But anyway, the point is, it might be better. She also writes a lot of other series online, so if you want to check out some of her other works, I'll link her Wattpad as well below. So moving on to the books I bought. Now, I bought more than I usually would have bought in a month because I had a really good sale at Chapters Indigo, which is the main bookstore here in Canada. So it was a whole bunch of books for like $10 and then an extra 50% off, so $5 books. So obviously I went crazy. I'd originally gone there for Queens of Geek, which was not on sale, unfortunately, and ended up leaving with 3 more books, which are the ones I'm going to talk about. The first one is Above All Things by Tanis Rideout. She will also be at the event with Craig Davidson, Amy Jones, and Sachi Cole. So when I saw her book in in that sale section, I kind of bought it without really reading what it was about, and so I don't regret that. It's kind of nice reading a book and not knowing what's going to happen. I am not just under halfway. This is the one I'm currently reading, and I'm really enjoying it. It's a historical fiction about a 1924 expedition to Mount Everest to map it. It obviously it focuses on a real event, but as I'm not a Everest history person, I don't know the outcome of the event, so it's kind of, I like that I don't know what's going to happen, and I like that I kind of bought it without knowing. And I really love the cover of this book, and it also has a picture on the back from actual history. And I unfortunately ruined it. There was a sticker on it, and this cover, the material doesn't hold stickers very well, so that's upsetting. But I'm really enjoying it, and I will probably do a review because I've already have a whole bunch of things that I kind of want to talk about, and I'm not done yet. So this will probably be my next review. And so I'm going to move on to my next purchase, which is, surprise, another Canadian author. So this book is The Illegal by Lawrence Hill. So if you're Canadian, and even if you're not Canadian, I hope you know Lawrence Hill. He wrote The Book of Negroes, which is an amazing historical fiction that talks about the process of a woman from being taken from her home in Africa to being used as a slave, and her journey. And it's a really beautiful, powerful book. And so he's written some other books, and I read another one, or tried to, and I just couldn't get into it. But I have heard like fantastic things about The Illegal, so I've really wanted to read it. And obviously I can now, because for $5 I have this beautiful hardcover copy. And unlike the Book of Negroes, this book takes place in a fictional country, which I saw in an interview with Lawrence Hill kind of gave him more leeway to talk about things. And that was, so I think because it gave him the ability to have more creativity, is probably what allowed more people to talk about it or get into it. There was no constraints to it. So I'm really looking forward to read this book, and it will probably be sooner rather than later, because it's, you know, I wanted to read it for so long. And so the last book kind of that I bought was Yes Please by Amy Poehler. So I mean, I don't really know what to say about this book. I'm sure most of you know who Amy Poehler is. She's a comedian. She was on Saturday Night Live and Parks and Rec, obviously. And, you know, she showed up in shows like Arrested Development and such. I've obviously really wanted to read this because any Parks and Rec fan or Amy Poehler fan in general wants to read it. So for $5 I got it. This is a surprisingly really heavy book. So I'll probably also read this one really soon, because I am also really looking forward to reading it. I've heard fantastic things about it. So that's that. So I bought one more technical book, and I actually left it over there, so I can't show it to you. But it was a Buffy the Vampire Slayer coloring book, which to me counts as a book. Obviously, because it's a coloring book, so it may not be readable, but it's awesome because it's a coloring book, and it's Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And if you don't know Buffy the Vampire Slayer, then you should go and watch that immediately. So anyway, those are my reads and buys for the month of April. I will have a new video soon. I'm hoping to post a new one on Monday. I'm hoping Mondays, and I might try and start posting on Thursdays as well. We'll see how this goes. And so subscribe to me. I promise there'll be new and fantastic videos in the future. And I mean fantastic in the way that they will be continuously better and fantastic in comparison to my last videos. I mean, I'm learning, but I'm really loving talking to about books to a camera. So check back with me, subscribe, and I am on Twitter and Instagram and Tumblr. I will link them all below, but also it's just at Literary Hermit for pretty much everything. So I guess have a great day or night or whatever time it is for you, and I hope everyone is reading and having fun. So goodbye.